showtime.
Good morning, Vietnam! Welcome to the party, pal!
See you at the party, Richter!
I didn't kill my wife! I don't care!
Get away from her, you bitch!
I'll be back.
I'll be back. You did not gonna say that, did you? What I do have are a very particular set of skills.
The dude abides.
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
Inconceivable!
Little dollar smoothie pass.
This is a tasty burger.
Please.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
I'm the bad guy?
And Hulk, smash.
I can speak with an English accent.
Hit the hash pipe and join the National Guard. I could be elected president.
You went over my helmet?
What would you prefer? Yellow spandex? I know, right?
The list is in the open!
Hey, where are the white women at?
They're digging in the wrong place.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Are you not entertained?
Second star to the right. And straight on till morning.
Meow.
You son of a bitch.
21 gigawatts!
Wax on, wax off.
Oh my goodness, I am sporting a tremendous Woody right now.
Bartender is the aristocrat of the working class.
You want to flip 6 3-hole play and you could score.
Cover me.
Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. On this team, we fight for that itch.
Might be a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
No ticket.
No ticket.
I get older, they stay the same age.
It's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. He's 15.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Hope is a good thing. Maybe the best of things. And no good thing ever dies.
Good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy. I'm your host, Meffistoe, and always with me, my hetero life mate. Oh, my feelings. How are you, sir?
All I'm saying is Ryan Reynolds could have my babies just like that.
What is the Reel McCoy? You might ask. The Reel McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where we ask you to go watch a movie, you watch it, come back to us, and we break it down for you. This month, it's been a little bit rough. It's a little bit rough because we chose to cover failed or worst or bad or awful, depending on where you look at it, awful comic book adaptations. And we did say it kind of at the start of the year that we're going to cover a lot of comic book stuff. So I will be out of my depth talking about the story and the comparison, but we're going to stick, like today, we'll try to stick within the confines of the movie itself. But of course,
I'm going to try not to go on tangents. I'm sorry, buddy. I'll try.
Yeah, it's all good. Now,
all I have to say is we have this month kind of set up where, again, we ended the end of last month on a high note. It's like a roller coaster. Dipped down real bad with Tank Girl, going into a little loop-de-loop with Batman and Robin. This is the peak back up with Green Lantern because it isn't. We talked about it. It's okay. It's like overall, film-wise, it's like a 6. It's not that offensive.
Yeah, to be absolutely fair, before we dive into the mess that is this movie, you could definitely put this movie more on the lines of production disasters, like we did in the production disasters month, rather than being a failed comic book movie or a not so great comic book movie. Now, opinions will vary because I'm pretty sure that comic book readers, especially DC fans, especially Green Lantern fans,
they got it wrong,
would hate this
movie.
They
got it so wrong.
Yes, because when it comes to actual adapting a original story into a movie, this movie fails not at a 6. It fails at the 1 level. And even Dobafet in the chat says it's not a 6, it's a 3.
Well, dude, I'm trying to keep it relative to the films that we watched recently. This is like a 6 compared to Tank Girl and Batman and Robin.
It's so obnoxiously not offensive compared to all the other movies of this particular month.
Yes.
Trust me. Trust me. You know what's weird? I saw a snippet of Fantastic Four. It came up on TV about 3-4 days ago, and I think they were starting to, think about, wait a minute, let's promote the new Fantastic Four by actually releasing rights to like affiliates to make sure it's on TV, so people were kind of get reacquainted with the characters. But maybe they're not that smart. I have no idea.
I think that was a terrible idea.
Anyway, I watched this film today. I've watched it only once. Once was enough. I wasn't too crazy about it. I wasn't too crazy about watching it. That's why I kind of postponed it. Watched it this morning. And then I made me some lunch and went to sleep and had a very nice afternoon nap. Let's just say that. Not because the movie was great, but it wasn't that offensive.
That's what I like to think about this movie as. If you are not a diehard fan of the Green Lantern mythos, this film is just a placid, it's on. I'll watch it, I guess, if there's nothing else on TV, or you turn it on because I want to take a nap. Because this movie, to me, is like just 2 slices of white toast. All it is. Easily palatable, not offensive. You're not going to think too much about it later, but it'll stop you from being hungry for a couple hours. And that's about it.
And the thing about it is, I found many parts of it really dull. Like, boring dull.
Yeah.
It's like nothing is happening, yet we're still having a dialogue of sorts, and nothing is really happening.
And anyway, I do think this movie has the shortest montage training scene ever committed to film.
And it wasn't that great, even though you kind of had the pieces ready to go.
Because usually they show a passage of time. No, it's just like, so we're going to do this for 3 minutes, and you're good to go.
And we're done. And we're done. So we're going to get to the show. We will say hello to Mr. Dobafet and all the lurkers around here. I'm pretty sure we'll get people trickling in because the Salty Nerd podcast was not on today, but not to worry. We're here always for us. Finally, this man, this busy man, I can drag him away to talk to me for about a couple of hours, not on text, because on text we kind of speak a lot, even though we're on the other side of the planet.
Yeah.
But actually talking, it's a lot of fun. It kind of begins before the show and after the show. I kind of have to grab my buddy, right? All right, cool. Let's start the show with the point where we start every single time. It is Behind the Screens.
Sound production, take 2.
If you've noticed, I've captured the dull look on Ryan Reynolds' face and put it in because I found that particular picture just right. All right. Behind the Screens is where we turn to me. Even though we kind of both have notes, but I'll do some of it. And we get the lowdown on everything that is behind the scenes, production-wise. Holy hell, I've left out quite a bit. Trust me. All right. Let's kind of start with how this movie came to be in 1997. And this is after the kind of failed attempt to do Superman Lives. Kevin Smith was approached by Warner Brothers to both write and direct Green Lantern. But Kevin Smith, especially in 1997, wasn't really terribly sure of himself. And he definitely said, I think there are other people more capable than me, more suitable than me to lead this project because this is supposedly a blockbuster event for Warner Brothers, for DC, and all that stuff. The thing about it is
like given Kevin Smith is such a giant fan of comics, like it would have been interesting to see his take and what they would have done to make it an even remotely weird adaptation, because he would go off on he would follow the actual origin story of Hal Jordan and what the death of Albin story. That's the one thing they did get right in the movie, by the way. Other than that, like he'd go back like the Guardians and like he probably mentioned all the different lantern colors and yeah.
We have no idea. When did all the lantern colors came to be? Was it 1997?
No, they have been going on throughout the last, I don't know, 40-year history, 50-year history of the Green Lantern.
All right.
I mean,
cool.
the most recent one that we talked about backstage was, I do believe, was the White Lantern when Hal Jordan became the White Lantern. That was during Blackest Night. Yeah.
All right. So after Kevin Smith, Quentin Tarantino was approached, but he was working on Kill Bill. This is like... Yeah. Okay, we approached and they said no, so we're going to let it go. And then again, it goes into like a limbo phase and all that stuff. So the years are ticking by, because in 2004, Rob Smigel, a writer for Conan O'Brien, wrote a draft for Green Lantern with Jack Black as the Lantern.
No. Wasn't it like panned on the internet too?
It did, and not only that, it went like full comedy with Jack Black, and they didn't even use the known lantern names. They actually invented this new lantern. And he would like stumble into this power and had let's just say he would need a much larger training montage. That did not happen. And when the internet heard about this, they killed Warner Brothers for it.
I said, yeah, Boba Fett. Yeah, this script was great for the internet to poop on.
Yeah.
Triumph the insult comment.
And hello, Griffin. Join us, my man. Right. So after Batman Begin came out, and it was relatively successful. I want to say very successful, but it was relatively successful. David S. Goyer was tapped, and he was offered both The Flash as a single movie or a Green Lantern. Take your pick. And he passed on both. Now, why did he pass on both? I have no idea. However, it was probably due to the fact that he kind of realized how Warner Brothers treat any director that is in the director's chair in a Warner Brothers / DC movie doing some stuff. So he was working with Nolan, so he had like a close bird's eye view of what's happening. So it was probably that. I have no idea. I'm just guessing. After Goyer, and this is again a few years past, nothing goes on. Zack Snyder was offered specifically Green Lantern, not The Flash, but he had to turn it down because he was busy doing The Watchmen. Of course, he went on to do his 3-movie deal with Warner Brothers and DC. And now comes the fun part, which I mentioned backstage.
Okay, just right before that, though, do you think that maybe he specifically excluded the Green Lantern because he wasn't able to do it before? And he's like, no, fuck you, Warner Brothers. They're not going to be in my... there's going to be no Green Lantern in my Justice League.
I have no idea, nor did I even check.
I could just see Snyder being that petty about it.
I have no idea. However, after, let's say, fan demand... Zack Snyder in 2021 went back in and released with Warner Brothers the illustrious 4-hour director's cut.
Yes.
Of Justice League. And he wanted Ryan Reynolds to shoot a cameo with his animated Green Lantern suit.
No. Mm-mm.
Now,
Was this also after Deadpool 2?
That's what I'm going for.
Yeah, okay.
Timeline-wise, Deadpool 2 with the unmistakable Green Lantern put down. Not to mention the first Deadpool, which was like, don't make the super suit green or animated.
Animated, yeah.
He dared to ask Ryan Reynolds for a cameo. And Ryan Reynolds outright refused.
No. But I've got this good thing going with Deadpool. I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Well, like, to be fair, it isn't a different kind of continuity. So...
Oh, yeah. And not to mention the fact that I think in 2021, this is like deep within Corona field. I think Deadpool 3 was kind of in limbo at the time. They knew they wanted to proceed because this was right after Disney. Like Disney bought Fox right around 2020, early 2020, I think. So they knew they wanted to introduce Deadpool to the MCU. They didn't know how. Plus, he's an R-rated character, which really doesn't fit the MCU.
No, and I keep hearing rumblings about how he's going to be included with the X-Men, and where I'm like, I just don't see it working.
It's a bit of a weird one because, like we all know, when Deadpool and Wolverine came out, it was still under Disney. It was still using technically MCU stuff. They used the Loki's time cops. I have no idea. The core, whatever core it was.
That's a whole other thing that we don't need to talk about because it's
kind of
just makes
like I
me
said,
angry.
introduced into the MCU, but sort of came after Phase 3. So it's sort of a ham-fisted way of, so it was there to actually solve a problem that they had, that they created in Endgame, where Loki picked up the Tesseract and vanished. And now they have a problem, right?
No.
So it's sort of a weird one. Anyway, so Ryan Reynolds outright refused to do the cameo. That's what I'm saying, and that's a whole other rigmaroles.
Which is great. The only thing would have been better if they paid him for his likeness and they did the chef reappearance like they did in South Park.
Or they could have paid him for his likeness and did the stupid Flash movie conversions of the Supermans with actually having Superman lives Nicolas Cage with a big giant spider moment.
Yeah.
Thank God Ryan is a savvy businessman.
Man, we realized, this is a bad idea.
Yeah, it's a bad idea. Right. In 2007, we continue. 2007, actor Corey Reynolds, no relations, he's a black man. An actor worked on the TV series The Closer, never heard of it, but essentially it was said it was very popular. I've never heard of it.
Wait, that is, I know Kira Sedgwick. That's
I know.
Wait,
I know about. Yeah, okay, I know what the closer
I do
is.
believe that's the.
I thought he was the closer, but never mind. Okay, so Corey Reynolds was on a popular show called The Closer. He turned in a spec script, not a full script, of a Green Lantern with him starring in the role because it was Jon Stewart. And not only that
would have been great. That'd been fine. Yeah.
Not only that, it was actually built as a trilogy, and at the end of the trilogy, he actually introduces Hal Jordan at the end of it, kind of taking over from Jon Stewart, which there is something in the comic book for it, but I have no idea.
Well, it kind of goes in the reverse.
Oh, okay.
That way.
No, don't go into it.
No, but oddly, it does actually go back to Hal getting the ring eventually from John. So yeah, that actually would have played into the actual mythos where even DCU fans would be like, "Oh, okay, that's actually a good idea."
Okay, and Warner Brothers actually gave it a very tentative green light, which got revoked 2 months after they gave it a green light.
Of course.
Why? Well, there's a little man called Greg Berlanti, which if you don't know him from any movies, it's fine. However, he was responsible for trying to revive the CW with the Arrowverse. He was essentially involved in any DC character that was on the CW. So, Green Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, and Legends of Tomorrow.
And also, I think there's a Black Canary series for a limited run.
I think
it's
so.
Supergirl. Supergirl is also a series in there. Yeah.
I'm not really familiar with it. I don't watch the CW, and I don't like CW type shows. I don't particularly like Smallville. I've seen all of Smallville because my wife liked it. And Greg Berlanti was hired to write and direct Green Lantern, and essentially the sort of structure or framework of what we got from this Green Lantern was a suggestion by Greg Berlanti, meaning Hector Hammond was his suggestion, Parallax was his suggestion, and he brought in Michael Green and Mark Guggenheim to help write it, and they kind of had writing credits later, but we'll get to that. The thing is, they wrote
as an aside, Parallax is in Sinestro and it's one of the most classic villains of just the Green Lantern Corps, regardless of whoever actually held the ring that was patrolling the Milky Way. Like that was actually like of that sector, like he was the primary antagonist. So like it would make sense that Parallax being the primary antagonist throughout like the main series. Really weird with the Sinestro stuff, but we'll talk about that when we talk about the movie. Go ahead.
Okay. So the thing about it is somehow that script got leaked. It was a full script. It got leaked into the internet, and Greg Berlanti said, fuck this shit, I'm out. And he noped out of the movie. He literally noped out. And later on, when he started to work on the, they kind of interviewed him after the movie came out and already started to work on the Arrowverse. He said that despite the fact that he's got writing credits and he's even got a producing credits on the film, he barely worked on the film at all in terms of like the finished product.
Yeah.
Cause he was like, I can't, like, I can't work in an environment where somebody leaks the script. God forbid. By the way, it wasn't received well when it leaked. Not the Jack Black stuff. So,
well, that wasn't actually,
Green Lantern fans are goddamn fucking rabid, I guess.
Well, they're very particular about their mythos, which too, that wasn't the Corey Reynolds version of the script either. That was Arrow. That was his?
No, it was a full-on Greg Berlanti. Greg Berlanti had Hal Jordan, had Hector Hammond, had the Parallax thing, had the whole I forgot the name.
Abin Sur, which is true. That's where Hal got the ring from. That's who. Yeah, which that makes sense.
Okay,
that's fine because that's the one like good Easter egg in this was like old heads that really liked, you know, the actual Green Lantern movie. Like, okay, that's actually how Hal got the ring. That's cool.
The thing is, once Berlanti left, this was 2008-9. And the project kept languishing in limbo for another couple of years. Yeah. Then The Dark Knight was successful. And Martin Campbell. So it kind of pushed Warner Brothers to go with okay, we're not going to do like a Justice League. We're not going to do anything crazy. We're just going to stick to one singular superhero movie. And they hired Martin Campbell, who worked on GoldenEye, who did Casino Royale. So he was established sort of a blockbuster type guy who could get some sort of a script and deliver on his promise. Little did they know that Martin Campbell and the studio executives did not liked working with each other at all.
Go figure. Yeah.
It wasn't clear exactly who hated who first, but we know
there was mutual hatred all around. We don't need to.
Which starts with
let's not bicker and argue about who hated who first.
Yeah.
All right.
Which starts with a very important thing. Do you know what it is? And it's not the script.
Lead actor.
Casting. Exactly.
Yeah.
Casting. Who will play Hal Jordan? Well, they were two first actors. They were kind of in the running. One of them was Sam Worthington. Makes very much sense because
that
2009 we've got Avatar coming in, so he's hot. Chris Pine was up for the role, very hot. Star Trek, all that stuff, all around that time of casting, and both were rejected early.
Well, I could see Sam Worthington be rejected because he has the acting range of a cardboard box. So even though this is essentially again always just Ryan Reynolds playing Hal Jordan, who's basically just Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
At least he has some kind of charisma.
We've talked about Ryan Reynolds many, many a times.
Yeah.
I love the Ryan Reynolds shtick. I know it gets annoying because he does it in so many movies.
So many movies, yeah.
It's just him. That's why we kept saying, it's Ryan Reynolds playing Ryan Reynolds in a Ryan Reynolds starring movie. It's him. That's why Deadpool is so good, because it works really well with how Deadpool is and how Liefeld wrote him and how later on somebody else wrote him. So it's, it is what it is. So after Chris Pine and Worthington were rejected, there were 4 people in the running. One was Ryan Reynolds. The other, Jared Leto. Another one was Bradley Cooper. And the fourth one in this weird, cube of people is Justin Timberlake. Now, all 3, except for Jared Leto, I can see as a one-liner comeback kind of a guy. I can
Justin
see
Timberlake, kind of. Not like he's got some comedy chops, not so much. Bradley Cooper, though, because he obviously already had chops from
the Hangover.
The Hangovers, and also just even in some other ones like in Limitless, even though that is more kind of a serious kind of sci-fi movie, he has some good quips that are really interjected in the film. That gives
Plus,
a zing,
he looks kind of the part, so it's not a blonde hair, blue-eyed guy. He's more of like fair-haired and tall, lanky. Can play the comedic, but he can be serious too.
But also
Jared Leto, however,
no, he would have went full fucking method on this and would have ruined the movie. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, Jared Leto. I mean, I think he gets a lot more shit than he deserves because the 2 films of his that I really love, I really, really love. Requiem for a Dream and Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah.
But beyond that, he's not so good.
not so good. That's why we liked him getting fucking punched in the head in Fight Club. Anyway, we'll put that aside.
Mr. Blonde. This is like, get into a fucking hospital.
Anyway, the main issue is Martin Campbell stated that Bradley Cooper was his one and only choice to play the role, and he was stuck with Reynolds. Now, you never want to hear that from your director. Ever. The problem is, remember I just said the studio executives didn't quite mesh with Martin Campbell? They didn't even offer Bradley Cooper the role. Ooh. And they hid that fact from Martin Campbell for many, many, many months. And they even signed Reynolds behind Martin Campbell's back. So he came on the project. He was like, okay, let's do the casting. And, oh, I'm sorry, you're stuck with Reynolds. Now go to work with that one. Now, at this point, there is a framework of a script, but there's a lot missing. And throughout the film, the script was written, then rewritten, and redone, and redo, and all that rigmarole. And the casting was started. Some of the casting was done after the movie started shooting. But one, the role of Carol Ferris was offered to Ava Green, Kerry Russell, Jennifer Gardner, Diane Kruger, and then they casted Blake Lively.
Yeah, well, Diane Kruger was kind of hot right after Inglourious Bastards at the time.
I think so. I don't remember the exact timeline.
But, well, if it would have been Ava Green, well, there would have been at least one topless scene, because I don't think there's ever been a movie that she's ever been, or project where she does not get topless in.
Casino Royale. She wasn't topless in Casino Royale because it's a Bond movie.
There probably is some extended cut where she's topless. You know there is.
I know. Those puppies just want to burst out of the her
All
shirt.
I know is they need to breathe. All right.
Yeah, I know. Which is an odd kind of a choice because all the other actresses, maybe not Kerry Russell, but at that point she was already doing plenty of movies and sort of indie roles. So she was a movie star rather than a TV star. Blake Lively was essentially at that point just a TV star.
Because he just got out of, was it Gossip Girl?
Gossip Girl, yeah. She was the main
she was a lead role in it, right? I think so.
I think she was the main antagonist, but I've never seen
I've never seen it, so I really can't speak to it.
But yeah, and Peter Sarsgaard was cast as Hector Hammond. Not a problem with that, and couldn't find any other people that were up for the role. And you know,
I thought that Mark Strong was a perfectly serviceable Sinestro.
We'll get to that, but before that, Senator Hammond, which is Hector Hammond's father,
twins. Like what? How?
Initially, they were gonna go with Kevin Kline, which it could work, but they ended up with Tim Robbins getting the role a month after production started.
Oh, okay.
A month.
This is already a bad set.
It's a very bad situation. The role of Sinestro was offered to the one and only Jackie Earle Haley. Initially, he turned it down because he just finished The Watchmen.
He wouldn't be good in the role. Go ahead.
Then it was offered to Jeffrey Rush, which I think it would be too old, but
But he ended up playing Tamar Ray after that, though.
And and then it went to Mark Strong. But Rush wasn't really shortchanged because he joined in to do Tamar Ray.
No.
The problem is, when he joined to do Tamar Ray?
Probably like 6 months into production.
Nope. He joined after reshoots started.
Oh, bro, for fuck's sake.
And that's exactly when Michael Clark Duncan joined the crew
as Kilowog,
as the Kilowog's voice. They did their voices after reshoots began.
Oh, God.
Yes, exactly. And like I said, not at the reshoots point, but even at this point, there was there was a workable script, but a lot of scenes got reworked, redone, moved, rewritten, all that stuff. So much so that production was supposed to start in Australia in the Fox Studios there, where they shot The Matrix and Dark City. And
I think that's outside of Melbourne, I think. But yeah, go ahead.
I said Australia. Anyway, and because it was pushed back, they actually started shooting in a Louisiana location, which was supposed to replace Culver? What was the name of that's a fake town in California?
Culver City,
right? If I'm not mistaken. You guys in the chat are much smarter than me when it comes to comic books, for sure. Maybe even smarter than All My Feelings. I doubt that.
And also in the DC, they don't use actual city names either.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So much so that Angela Bassett playing Dr. Amanda Waller.
We talked about this backstage. They were like, "This is wrong. This is wrong." I think it's more. Again, we mentioned this backstage because I think this is supposed to be again a self-contained movie where they could just be like, "This is an Easter egg for the people that like comic books." Get it? There's Amanda Waller.
She was cast 9 days into shooting, so a little bit better than Tim Robbins.
Yeah.
The main issue on set was, first of all, there were a lot of intervention and intervening by the studio, essentially the studio executives, to Martin Campbell, mostly due to two things. The fact that they wanted to shoot it and make it so that the movie would be a 3D version. Remember, I just talked about Sam Worthington, the Avatar, the whole shooting in 3D and how it kind of complexes a lot of things when it comes to actually shooting live action rather than full-on CGI. That mesh made it so that the movie print was of a low quality than what they intended it to be, which is
why
people who are into that sort of thing were real pissed about it, but most of us didn't really realize.
Well, which
any
also
difference.
too, like if you watch the movie now, the CGI looks bad for a movie that was done in the early 2010s. You're like, this does not look good because it was done for that 3D. Audience, which
and I'll get to the CGI part, but it was constant clash between Martin Campbell, the studio, and Martin Campbell and Ryan Reynolds, who actually did suggest a few things story-wise that we're not going to do that. Shut up. Who are you? You are just an actor.
Yeah, which is odd because this I can't interject on because I know which stuff he wanted to do.
Oh, tell me.
Yeah, so some of the changes that he actually wanted to make Hal more actual true to the comics and especially his actual relationship with different characters, especially those on the Green Lantern Corps. When they were on Oa, he wanted to have more of the bit with Kilowog that was going to last longer, but CGI budget, no. The same thing with Tamaray. No. And the first conversations with like Sinestro and moving into eventually at the end when the post credits when he actually does get the Yellow Lantern ring, because like this is not how the story is told at all. Ryan Reynolds thought it was like this is not the mythos in any way, shape, or form, and the director hated him for it.
Oh, he hated him so much. The feeling was quite mutual, especially after Ryan Reynolds did a stunt and he either tore his shoulder or he got shoulder separated.
No, he dislocated his shoulder.
Shoulders. Okay, so and essentially Martin Campbell told him to get up and dust off. He did not like that at all.
Yeah.
And he put the full blame on what happened in the stunt solely on Martin Campbell, which, at the end of the day, he's the boss on set, regardless of what happened. It comes with the territory. We can ask John Landis on that one. Anyway.
Yeah.
So the thing about the studio and pushing for the 3D, the studio was the one pushing for the animated suit as well. Now, Martin Campbell, I couldn't find anywhere that he was opposed to it. All he said was he doesn't quite love to do a lot of CGI. He knew that it would be an essential part of it, but I couldn't find anywhere that he said that he did not like the animated suit. I have no idea where that is, but all I know that he's called the Stig. No, never mind. That's the Top Gear reference. Anyway, the whole point is Martin Campbell argued a lot in terms of the CGI aspect of it and how much it kind of pushed the movie to go one way. And at the end of the day, it just didn't work. And there's a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with the actual CGI itself. It's sort of like what they could have done with it and they didn't do. We'll talk about it when we actually talk about the movie. I know we're a little bit late on the other segments. Don't worry, it's fine. Right. And the last note that I actually have, and then we're going to kind of start talking about the movie, is
I think we'll go first game first, then we'll go right into it and Blitz.
Yeah. It's not about Blitz, about talking about stuff that is nothing to do with the actual story. But we'll talk about that in a minute. The reported budget was around $200 million. I think it was a little bit more because it had not extensive reshoots, but it had quite a bit of reshoots just because the story didn't make sense in the edit. And it made worldwide, so domestic and international, worldwide, $219 million. And it wasn't very good on the secondary market, so rentals and
VOD.
There wasn't even streaming that then, but rentals, so DVD rentals. And it didn't do well on the merch side, so automatically there was a ixnay on the sequel A. So there was,
even though they set up a sequel already, but that was never going to happen.
Essentially, there was some sort of a framework for a trilogy. Greg Berlanti did not write a trilogy. He wrote a single. That whole Sinestro bit at the end, they said it was, and this is something I checked. Did they or didn't they, in terms of studio, Warner Brothers, DC, whatever, wanted to start Green Lantern essentially was the first kind of jump start because it was separate from the Batman thing, from Nolan's Batman.
Yeah.
Was it the start of the DCEU? And I found like a definite no.
No.
This was not supposed to be the DCEU. The DCEU essentially is the Zack Snyder verse. But then, of course, got nixed. Yeah. And now it's the DCU is Gunn's version.
Yeah. And it couldn't have worked out that way either because they would have been on the same planet during the events of after the Dark Knight Rises, during the Dark Knight Rises, sorry. Hal Jordan would have been there to stop Bane immediately because they would have been in the same shared universe.
No, they said the Green Lantern is very like the Batman thing was contained.
That's the Nolan verse. That is just the Nolan Batman. Yeah.
And they had no aspirations of actually making the Green Lantern a part of this new stuff that they're building up. Kind of like, because, and the rumors were, or the reason why it came up is the fact that most DC stuff did not have an end credit scene. This one did. Just like the MCU, and the MCU was at this point in like start of phase 2 at this point. So the whole end credit scene turning into some sort of a chapter
like
that
building the Avengers.
Exactly.
After,
That's why there were rumors that this is kind of jump starting a DCEU or DCU. No. It's like, no, there's no support for that. It just looks that way. It feels that way, to be honest. Sort of an origin story for your superhero, kind of like the Iron Man. And at the end, there's a sort of a continuation story that may or may not link up or further down the line. But, it is what it is. All right.
At the end of the first Iron Man, that he meets Thunderbolt Ross in the bar?
No. I don't remember. No, yes, he does. He does.
Yeah.
And they talk about the Hulk.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about Hulk. Anyway.
Because it was supposed to be the actual Edward Norton Hulk. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Essentially, they were already working on the Hulk while they were doing that scene. Never mind. All right, cool. We have to rest. And we rest. With a little...
Then we'll blitz this movie because it's again, we get to go gloss over all the dull parts, which is pretty much about 40% of the dialogue.
Sadly, you're right. A little segment we like to call Missing Marquee. Missing marquee for the uninitiated is where we take 10 posters, have their text written off. We display them, and you guys out there in the chat and Know My Feelings will help you guess which movie this is. Ba-bam! Jeff Bridges, who was or may not have been, could have been Jor-El in the new Gun sequel, Superman movie.
Which, by the way, I actually did kind of enjoy it. I thought I was like, yeah, this is not a bad take on it.
I did too. There were a few things that were a bit off, but it is what it is. Sander Hammerschlag, hello. So, sir, it is Against All Odds.
Oh.
This is supposedly the best movie ever made. I vehemently disagree.
I think it's vastly overrated. I think it's a good film, but what's odd is in recent years in that poll, you know what film actually overtook it?
Which one?
Vertigo.
Interesting. You know what? I would agree more with Vertigo than with Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul Harley. Let's continue. I really want to cover this movie.
This movie's so bad. It's so bad, but it's so fun.
I really want to cover this movie because I'm gonna write a review on it this week. I think I need to watch it.
They made up their own version of martial arts with guns, gun kata.
Yes, I know.
And Sander's got it.
Sander, go watch the Vertigo podcast that we did. It's a fucking
great.
I'm just as an aside, okay? You're right. It is Equilibrium. Just an aside. Go watch or even listen to that show. I think we were stoked on every single one of those episodes that we did for Hitchcock month.
Because I got to tell you because that's one of my
enjoyed
favorite
them.
films of all time. I'm like I finally get to talk to my buddy about this one.
Yeah, I was really happy with actually covering those things because I haven't watched them in so long. They're so good. It's worth just going back and read, even listening to them. They're so good. The episodes themselves, I really enjoyed them.
This is another great movie too.
It is,
and the title is right there on the cannon barrel.
Oh well. Vertigo is your least favorite Hitchcock movies. That's fine. That's good. This is, of course, Fury. Fury. This another one of those movies where it's I love to see it, but it's fucking sad, man.
Fury, yeah. This one also sad too because I saw it way too many times.
No, this one is not called Furry. It's called Kalikioki. You are correct.
That's the first one.
Kung Fu Panda, the first one. Yes. This movie I don't like.
Waltzing.
Yes. I mean, come on.
Kalikioki's got it.
That kid has a fucked up life, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Matilda is correct.
Most child actors. Really sad shit.
This movie, I got a lot of flack for not liking this movie.
You keep saying
Tom Connors.
I thought you said this is your least favorite Tarantino film.
No, this is not my least Tarantino film.
No, Jackie Brown is your least favorite because you fell asleep.
Jackie Brown is, and I don't really like Kill Bill, and I would put this even above Kill Bill, but it's not.
Wow.
I really hate the fact that this is his last movie. It is, of course, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, correct.
All you have to do is look at that fucking haircut. Like, I know exactly what it is.
You know what? I really enjoyed the books, the Da Vinci Code, and
So you just gave him the title right off
oh
rip.
shit! Fuck. Okay, never mind. It
There
is
you
the Da
go.
Vinci Code. I never saw Tom Hanks as Robert Langdon. I love the character of Robert Langdon.
Talk about
I
a
know
good
all of
movie.
you know the Da Vinci Code. I mean, come on. Directed by Catherine Bigelow, starring Jeremy Renner.
Yes, which
It is
The
Hurt Locker.
Have to give it to Sander because he put it. It's the.
Well,
Paul said Vertigo is his least favorite. I'm not a fan of Paul right now.
You know what? I'm a fan
Negative
of
points,
man.
as if they matter.
You know what? I am a fan of man. So get wrecked. Come on, last one. Jimmy Stewart. If we're talking about Vertigo, the Duke. This is not Shane. No,
Nope.
This is not Shane. I don't think the Duke is not in Shane, right? The man who shot Liberty Valance. Where is it? Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. It is the man who shot Liberty Valance.
I think you should put another one up because you got two of them right away. One you gave away the name of. The other one had the name in the actual poster.
Excuse me, who said waltzing with?
Hey, some people don't understand the phrase waltzing Matilda. So
I'm calling Abin Soul on your ass.
Sir.
Whatever.
I did love the opening exposition just for, again, people who have no frame of reference whatsoever. An easy lead in I thought was interesting, even though it's not true to the comics in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I wanted to ask you. Now, I wasn't aware of the Green Lantern Corps until this movie. I wasn't aware there is a Corps.
Yeah.
I knew about the ring. I knew that it was producing whatever he wanted it to produce. In terms of like visual things that it's all in his mind. I knew about the fact that you needed to charge the ring with the lantern, meaning essentially there is the Green Lantern. And if you separate the two, you could build some sort of a story on that. However, I did not know about the Corps, did not know about Sinestro, wasn't aware about Parallax and how he is important and connected to the whole colors are types of powers and there are different. I didn't know about the different cores much later after this movie, but essentially that.
They're personifications of each sort of emotion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they all kind of have their own kind of same power in their own right too, where they're constructs of their abilities. So it's all weird. It's like I would put it in a 40K kind of reference. Angron.
Yes,
dude's
I get it.
Fuck ass mad all the goddamn time.
Yeah.
The leader of the Red Lantern Corps makes him look like he's a chill dude.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, now there is I think 35 minutes to 40 minutes of just introducing us to young Hal Jordan and young Carol not Higgins.
Come on.
Carol Ferris and Hector Hammond. And
it's not really an introduction to their younger version of them. It's just probably previous to them.
It's sort of weird. It kind of takes 35 minutes to explain Hal Jordan's fear, essentially.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Well, the basis of his fear, which, if you think about it, is actually a good way to set up the fact that where he constantly questions himself, because he does have that innate fear that's inherent in him. So he has his moment of character doubt, which is kind of decent storytelling.
And
it's not done well, but it's decent.
I'm saying 35 minutes because the first 15, it's him, childhood, all that stuff, and it actually goes.
We have the whole the whole Maverick fucking Top Gun scene, essentially with drones. Yeah.
Yes, and it accentuate his own fear where he is literally having a moment. Now the whole point of this thing is we kind of get the sense of Hal Jordan is a really good pilot. So having your plane stall and then you reignite the engines and kind of make it work is something that they actually teach high-level pilots, which he is supposed to be in being a sort of a non-military test pilot, right? Because he's not in the military.
Yeah, he is.
Ferris constructs. He's not in the military at all. He's wearing military uniform.
Hal Jordan? Yeah. Yeah, he is.
They don't say for a second he is in the military.
Yes, they do. They actually do set it up because they say originally there was a conversation between Carol and Hal after this entire fiasco where he says, no, when I ran away, when I went to the Air Force.
Okay.
So he definitely did be part of the military for
no.
time.
He is working for Ferris Industries Corporation. He's working for this outside contractor trying to get a contract with the Air Force.
He is now, but he was part of the Air Force prior to this.
That's what I'm saying. Why are you arguing with semantics with me? At this point in time, standing in front of his future wife, not in the movie, in real life, he is not a part of the military. They have
yes.
Like military call signs. She's Sapphire. He's Hardball.
No, Highball.
Highball. Sorry, Hardball is a little bit. He played Hardball with the director, but it is what it is. He is Highball. She's Sapphire. But that's call sign. That's regular call signs. But they're both citizens at this point.
Yes.
But he crashes a very, very, very expensive
F-35. I think
it's about $22 million a piece.
Yeah, something like that.
I would know as an Israeli because we, of course, control the world. We know exactly how much that cost. Not really. Relax, YouTube. But they do. One of the things they do set up, and again, this is part of the fear. In the background, there is that moment where Abin Sur encounters. We see Parallax getting out of it before we see Hal Jordan in his infant stage and also adult infant stage because it's Ryan Reynolds.
Lock. Yeah.
We do get to see snippets of Parallax, and then we get a little bit of Sinestro and what's happening, and the core that got killed, and that he contacts Abin Sur and all that stuff, and Abin Sur gets attacked, and of course he ejects.
And it actually, the weird thing too is that prison must have been weak as shit because that wasn't members of the Green Lantern Corps. That was just
no, that was just people who crashed onto that planet.
On the planet.
Hold. What? I told her to not get in here if she's not properly dressed, and she's not properly dressed.
Also, tell her to put her goddamn phone on the kitchen counter.
No, it's not on the kitchen counter. There's a multi-charger right next to the TV. It's even farther away from the room.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's probably there. And if it's not, I will get up and take her away from her. She fell asleep wearing jeans on the tablet and the phone underneath her. How did that happen? I have no idea.
Well, if I put it under here, they'll never know.
Yeah, essentially.
Teens be dumb. Dumb.
Part of the issue of introducing Hal and his fear is this moment as well. This is kind of contributing to that moment where he has this same kind of mirror image, but because he doesn't have any kids, it's his it's nephew, but they don't say which one of the brothers and sisters. He does have brothers and sisters. He comes to.
I just have to assume it's the one that is furious.
That's probably
the father. Yeah,
probably.
But also, like, isn't this scene just like that's just quintessential Ryan Reynolds, where he's just chewing scenery with jokes? Like this is the lamest 11-year-old's birthday party ever. What, you got no dancing girls?
It was so Ryan Reynolds is absolutely
cheeky.
hilarious.
Yeah.
And by the way, Ryan does work well with a lot of child actors.
And to be fair, also, I think his name's Luke,
I
the
have
nephew.
no idea.
Wasn't immediately insufferable, which I find most child actors to be. I was like, okay, it's believable. What does he do?
Okay.
He thought his uncle was hurt. He gives him a big old hug first.
Yeah.
And then he asks him, he's like, were you scared? And that's the thing. I was like, well, go enjoy your party.
Like I said, mirror imaging, and it kind of supports the whole fear issues. Now we need to leapfrog a lot.
So we got Abensur crashing and Hal again rushing to save, like me watching it, you and I watching any kind of movie going, well, that's fucked. I'm going nowhere near that because I'm pretty sure anything that's going to pop out is going to eat my fucking face.
Yeah.
I'm dead.
I like the fact that he called Taika Waititi's, because he's like, it's his best friend,
like,
essentially.
You got to check out this shit.
Yeah. It's like, you need to check out this weird alien shit that I just discovered. Oh, and by the way, I think the army and the military is coming here, so we need to bolt.
Yeah, it's like, 'cause they're going to realize that somebody buried a dead alien. we got to go. And also, like, I do love the setup too. Like, what he gave me a ring. What did he propose? Like, yeah. Okay, a good little quip there. And as we mentioned backstage, this is Taika Waititi before he was outrageously insufferable.
Yeah, and between that and this, Hector Hammond is being tapped because essentially Hector Hammond is now a world-renowned xenobiologist.
No, he's a gene specialist, and basically it was his father that got him brought into.
I put down a note while I was watching this. Amanda Waller, Dr. Amanda Waller, comes in and she says, "You are the world-renowned xenobiologist and da 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 da." And I was like, how do you be a xenobiologist?
So are you telling me that he's encountered alien species?
No, that's the whole point. You don't understand. How could he be a xenobiologist? Which means there's biology coming outside of the Earth.
Yeah.
They set it up. The setup for this is him teaching a class talking about this new biology that they essentially found on Mars a few years before the movie, right? So they kind of tap into real world and kind of mix it up with fake world. But when they set it up, he was already infected with the yellow blood that was in Abensur's wound. So essentially, you kind of talk about the xenobiology to introduce it, but it's also in a kind of a delay. That made no sense story-wise if you really think about it.
No, the only thing that makes sense is the fact that the reason why he got called in is because it's set up perfectly as Tim Robbins, the senator, is his father, and he's head of that program. So yeah, he brought his son in. And to be fair, Hector did a good job.
Yeah, the thing about it is, and Hector kind of says it to his dad once they meet again. It's like, oh, you did that because I was, not, there were better people than me. And he said, well, there were better people than you, but you have the juice. Essentially, I kind of paraphrasing, but yeah,
it's possible, but no, you did the job and you impressed absolutely everyone, like I thought you would. So it's in a way too. We're gonna get about that family dichotomy, which I thought was kind of fucking weird. But anyway, so we have the oath joke bit, which is kind of just.
I was waiting for that, but by the way, I remember
Ryan Reynolds. It is
because. He's gonna fuck up the oath because it's Ryan Reynolds. But even in 2011, dude, it's the Van Wilder guy.
Yeah,
he's gonna fuck up that fucking oath. But then, of course, once it starts glowing, he's into the moment and he says the oath.
It's the ring and immediately gets it to him, and yeah.
Now, why did they change the fucking eye? The pupil color? Why?
Because that used to actually happen in the books. So that's actually a touch that wasn't off.
Okay. And I thought that was the touch of off.
Yeah.
I like the fact that when he has the mask, it's like, and Sinestro says it. It's like, why do I have a mask? It's like to hide your identity. And I was like,
Well, like
that
I'm
is that
sorry.
going to hide your identity? And
You're
of course, it's a setup for Blake, for Carol. It's like
the easy one, which we're when we get to that scene too, but like it's the same Batman around thing. Like, how could anyone not think that you're fucking Dick Grayson? Look at your fucking face.
Yeah.
I can see your fucking Dick Grayson. With this, it was like I can see your fucking Hal Jordan. Because she even says like you're what, like I've seen you naked. What, you think I didn't recognize it because you can't see your cheekbones?
And then of course Hal gets jumped. He goes to the bar with Carol, blah blah blah. He gets jumped by the workers at Ferris Industries,
which is so weird. Okay. This bit kind of fucking annoyed me. I get the whole like setup for the whole of using his will to defend himself sort of bit. So he has the giant fist that punches them all. But the thing that that made no sense whatsoever is, first and foremost, the guy who is the lead of Ferris Industries, Carol's dad, goes, I'm going to have to lay off half my crew. Did he do it that fucking day? Because this is like 2 days later. And then apparently 2 days after this, they're having a fucking party when they got the contract.
Yes. The timeline is a little bit too fast / weird. Just a little bit too weird. Now, this particular shot, very comic book-esque, but my problem is it was too of a wide shot just to grab the whole thing. And if this was a comic book panel, it would have been Hal with the swish,
the fist.
And the next panel would have been all three of them getting punched with the swish.
Well, the one good thing that they did do the good tight shot on the guy going through the quote-unquote brick wall, the main leader of the guys bothering him, which that was kind of cool. But I could see that because actually it would have been like him with that, like, well, how about this? And then it would be the shot of the ring, then the fist going out, then hitting the three and going off in different directions on panels. Yeah.
All right. Now the fun bit. So Hal gets,
which they kept trying to give him green contacts, but they look blue. And you know why that is? Because of the fucking goddamn 3D.
I've put this shot on because it actually gives you almost the entire fucking deal with the suit. Because this is not the suit, this is the mask.
Yes.
But it's a panning shot of the entire suit. And you can tell, or try to tell, there's a skin underneath. However, if you've seen any of the behind the scenes shot of any CGI movie, you know that they're wearing a full body suit with dots, right?
Yeah.
So even if they're trying to mimic the skin, if you look at the lines up here, right, it ends rather abruptly because that's where the dots on around his face ended.
Yeah.
It is too jarring of a jump. That's why the mask, out of all the suit, the mask, look, the more egregious and let's say the more fake. The fakest part of his entire suit is that fucking mask.
Yeah, I would say too, also, a lot of the female PAs apparently had a really good time on set.
Of course. And there are certain shots where you know it's Ryan there standing, right? But if you, during the movie, at this particular shot, especially because of the lighting, especially because this is a studio, he kind of looks like a full CGI Ryan Reynolds. I mean, there are moments where he's fully CGI Ryan Reynolds, especially in the flying bits.
Are you saying this is a full CGI Reynolds trying to be Ryan Reynolds, playing Ryan Reynolds in a Ryan Reynolds movie starring Ryan Reynolds?
Yes. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. I want to move on
So
ahead.
we do have that
After
little
his
bit with
intro-
we have that little like joke about him doing the little like fist bumping and stuff, and it's the introduction to Tomare introducing him to the entire Lantern Corps and Oa and the concept of like
and Sinestro and Kilowog is as his sort of like I'm going to be your toughest trainer, blah 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 blah. And I like the fact that one thing they kind of did right was after everything kind of ends, Kilowog is like, well, I trained him.
I trained him. Do I train him good or do I?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, you got me. You got me on that one. It's fine. See,
we got there was just that conflict between Sinestro and Hal, where Abin Sur was actually the one who trained Hal in this version, which is that's another thing where Comic has like that no, but it's more of the fact like he's not ready yet. But we mentioned this before, the shortest montage version. Because
it moves from this
was his training essentially, because he gets scared and then he goes away from the planet and then basically that's it.
Okay, I want to move one step further.
Yeah.
So he takes care of Kilowog, even though it's kind of goes really fast into the fight with Sinestro. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed while watching this. I don't know if my feelings, watch this. You said twice. God bless you, my man. God bless you for watching this twice this week. Did you notice something really particular with the scene with Sinestro? And if you say no, that's fine.
I'm not quite sure what you're referring to.
Okay. So we all know that when they do these kind of movies, you got Oa, it's a full-on green screen room, blah, blah, blah. It's all CGI. We know this. But most of the time, you don't actually notice it's in a studio. Like Hal Jordan's apartment is...
Oh, no, okay. No, I do. I know. Never mind. Go ahead. Yep.
Hal Jordan's apartment, if you notice or not notice, nothing is moving in the background of the city. It's pretty stale.
Doesn't exist.
In Oa, stuff happens in the background where it's very subtle and you don't notice, but that's not really it. There was a sound issue on the fight with Sinestro and essentially Hal Jordan or Mark Strong and Ryan Reynolds. You can hear the echo of the studio while they were talking. So essentially, your eyes may believe they're in Oa, but your ears are telling you, wait a minute. I can kind of hear the echo of this. They're in a room. You can it's like I said, very subtle, and I did not notice it when I watched this for the first time. I've watched this 3 times. One of them was this not afternoon, but essentially morning.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell that this was not only a green screen studio, a very small one, because you can hear the echo on a studio. It's weird. They had a massive sound issue at this point.
Yeah.
All right.
There was if you pay attention to it, there was also one during the Kilowog scene as well.
Very subtle. Like I said, in the Sinestro one, you can tell.
It's where he says like this will be the last day of your life. You hear go life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real subtle.
Yeah. Anyway.
So Hal just goes, fuck this shit, I'm out. Goes back to Earth, and then we have Hector basically giving into the
Parallax's
fear, his empowerment, I guess. Which Parallax does not work the way that that's not how any of this works. No.
And to explain his sort of change or powers, he takes a little bit of blood, goes into, because he is a scientist, regardless of him teaching or not. he is a scientist, and he goes into this thing, and we get the very obvious kind of like, oh, this is under the microscope. This is obviously how it looks like.
Yes. You know what this reminds me so much of is the original Resident Evil. We're like, you could see the T virus attacking the cells.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not how no.
That's every single time you want to see like how something kind of takes over your blood cells. I think it was in the Hulk as well, where essentially it exploded the blood.
Yeah, the Ang Lee one, yes.
Yeah,
with gamma radiation, yeah.
Exactly. So it's kind of a representation of how it kind of takes over your body. I get it. It's kind of a cliche move to do.
Also that was in the original Blade, because when she made the anti-serum.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Because it actually exploded the slides in under the microscope. Yeah.
But essentially, you kind of realize, okay, Hector's got this ESP thing where he can hear other people's thoughts. Essentially, it kind of moves into he goes and meet his senator father, and he hears his sort of thoughts about him, and he is not really happy with him, setting up the whole party bit as well. Meanwhile, Sinestro takes the best warriors of the Corps, tries to defeat Parallax with a chain.
And this, this reminds me of so much. It's just like a newbie party trying to do Nax 40.
Yeah, I know.
And like even in Wrath of the Lich King, like even when it was super fucking easy, I just
anyway. Which kind of brings me to the major criticism about the CGI. It's not the fact that it looks cheap. Which it did. It's not the fact that it looks fake and terrible, okay? Putting that aside, one of the main criticisms that this movie got was if willpower combines with your imagination, and you can imagine anything you want, which essentially Toma Ray has got this weird kind of ring thing going on at the start, that's a cool little idea it's in your mind.
That reminded me of was Dr. Manhattan's universe that he built on Mars, the giant clock. Yeah. So where it's like you have almost kind of omnipotence depending on what your power level and what your scaling is, depending on your imagination, which also means that Hal Jordan is probably mentally deficient. we're gonna get to that though. Yeah, go ahead.
That was the issue. Why are they so limited on what they can do? The fist thing was fucking fun and was spur of the moment because he was thinking about punching these motherfuckers. It makes sense. But when you're trying to capture a cloud, why are you using a chain net? Why not do something more elaborate than that? A big fucking vacuum or something.
Well, as Kilowog already showed, they can create a fucking micro sun. Yes. Why couldn't he create a micro singularity event, a tiny black hole? Just even an atom thick, and gone.
Exactly. But it would just end the story right there and then. That's the issue.
Yeah.
But why? No, the issue was, why weren't they trying to do something more inventive than just a big old fucking net? We caught him in a net, folks. It's the net part that disturbed me, or everybody. It disturbed me. When Hal, we can actually progress to the party, where Hal is kind of like,
so weird because apparently, all three of the primary characters knew each other. Like Hal,
yes.
Carol, and Hector, they all knew each other very well. Which I don't know about you, but if I was going to be working for a senator, why the hell would I know his son? It's like they went to fucking school together when they were children or something. And also, too, the entire time, Hal and Hector seem to be kind of buddy-buddy, where even like even when the senator comes up and kind of basically flat out dismisses his son, Hal says, no, if it weren't for people like thinkers, then I wouldn't have, planes to fly. So it's more about like, give your son some fucking credit.
Yeah. And the whole point in this was, okay, you grabbed him in a big car to make sure the wreckage of the helicopter doesn't kill everybody. Why you keep driving it around the fucking circles?
Why wouldn't you just put it in it in a bubble? Put it in a bubble and set it the fuck down.
And it's the weird part is he already put Carol in a bubble. So what's the difference?
And the odder thing too is he does it to Amanda Waller, where he puts her in a literal bubble of water to set her on the ground and dissipate
and
it.
Sort of rest her on the fucking. So,
but you know what that was supposed to be? It was a setup and payoff of the scene that he had with his nephew at the beginning, because as he left the room, he hit the racetrack and the car did the loop-de-loop on the track and flew off. That's what that was supposed to be about. But also, I'm like, oh my god, dude, if your imagination is this fucking limited, the world's fucked. Like we're fucked.
I mean. There were moments where you could say, well, it's okay. It makes sense of trying to protect. So you put up a dome of protection on top of a person. That race car, okay. You set it up nicely with the kid's birthday where, let's just call it, it's a very weak setup for a very stupid payoff.
Yes.
But I'll give them a little bit of a leeway there. But like I said, I thought for the most part, a lot of the stuff that he kind of invents in order to defeat the enemy was lame. Was fucking lame.
It's lame as shit. And what's so funny too is after this, because we can go ahead and do that. We can just move on. How he his friend Thomas shows up and he's like, dude, what the first thing you think of is a fucking racetrack? Like what? The fuck, man. Seriously? That's it.
I hated this part. The showcase.
Oh yeah, because it had to be obviously the cheeky Ryan Reynolds thing, and then also like obviously he tries to put a suit on, it doesn't work, so he has to get it recharged. And then also to like I did love the whole bit too, where it was Thomas saying, wait, don't the heroes get the girl? And then he goes to Carol's, and Carol's is like, fucking Hal.
Yeah. This was a little bit weird. Very very homoerotic, I thought. I'm not sure where I was going with this, but yeah.
Wait, did you say homo or Homer erotic? Because I'm into the Odyssey, but maybe as you are.
It was very Homer erotic. I mean, Taika Waititi, you can tell his eyes went wide open.
Yeah.
But
wow.
putting that aside.
Are those strings, or are you just happy to see me?
Exactly. Because, I mean, look at his face. I mean, come on. Come on. I hated that scene so much. It did. See, it's about 5 minutes, and it contributes nothing to the story. It had no effect that this guy who's his best friend knows about this. He already knows about the lantern and the ring and the alien.
Yeah.
Just tell it, look, I'm in the suit. Because he said it when he got in. I've heard about the party and what you did there. So he knows he was him.
Yeah. The thing too is like I love automatically they drop all pretenses, because right after this too, with Carol going, yeah, I know it's you.
Yeah, exactly. And it moves straight onto, okay, your best friend knows you're the Green Lantern. Now your main squeeze to be.
It's just like listen, we have fucked before. I've seen you fucking naked. Obviously, it's you. Like this, the whole Dick Grayson problem in Batman and Robin. Like, no fucking shit, it's you. Wow. But again, Dick Grayson's not going around to everybody. He's saving random people. He's not like, hey, girl that I've been in love with since I was a kid, apparently. Like, hey, how you doing? I'm glad I saved you.
I mean, she could have misplaced him with the Green Hornet, but I'm pretty sure.
Well, no, because the Green Hornet doesn't wear that kind of costume.
I know. It's more of a hat and trench coat kind of a guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. So
we're talking about another bad comic movie that we could have done technically was the Green Hornet, because they did have a limited run, but that was a Seth Rogen movie. Oh boy,
I don't remember if we talked about doing the Dark Man, but I actually kind of like the Dark Man, and it actually, even though the story is kind of fucked, it actually is very close to the comic book than you.
It is. That actually is very close. The other one that I was thinking of putting out there, which you'd be like, no, Blank Man.
Haven't seen Blank Man, I think, but it's not a big.
You would
problem.
have a lot of fun with it because it is dumb as shit. Yeah.
Anyway.
Now, if we want to talk about horribly tragic ones, oh boy, there was one with Rainn Wilson and now Elliot Page. I can't remember the name of it now.
I don't know, but there is Meteor Man, but Meteor Man is
also The Adventures of Pluto Nash, and
also the Condor Man. Let's stop here, okay?
We can keep going because there are a lot more.
There's a lot, sadly.
Dolph Lundgren's The Punisher. Oh.
But anyway, for some reason, now I don't get it. Hal gets a warning from the Ring, and he gets there sort of in time to help Amanda Waller.
Yeah, any kind of really. When there's any kind of imminent threat, it's basically like it's a localized GPS that will directly direct you there to the site of it. That's one of
this is straight from the comic book, right? This something that was established in the comic book.
Yeah. Their inherent powers as well. The Green Lanterns are kind of he mentions it as space cops.
Yes.
Over the exaggeration, but kind of the same.
All right. It's getting late. So
no, we have that whole bit where it's again. The thing is that what the father and son bit got me fucking mad, because the senator, even though kind of a dick, don't get me wrong, he's kind of a dick, but behind it all, he is trying to do what's best for his son, and he's trying to make sure he's slowly turning into a mutated fucking monster. Like, I'm trying to save your life because I don't know if this is going to actually kill you, because you've been infected with an alien parasite that also turned your brain into what did they do?
Mush.
They took from the Edward Norton Hulk.
Oh, is it what's the name of the character?
I can't remember, but it's also in the most recent
Brainiac, but it's something else.
It's in the most recent version, the Captain America, the one when he fights the Red Hulk. That it's just.
Oh yeah, I've heard it's what is it, like a end credit scene, or you see him for a split second?
No. He is the primary villain. That is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's just fucking it. Well, basically, he got the Hulk serum. Basically, what made the Hulk in his brain. That's it.
Okay.
But his head looks like that at the end of the Edward Norton Hulk.
Okay.
So yeah,
and the whole bit is he touches Hal, and he it harkens back to everything they wanted to tell us at this sort of intro to the movie, where it's Hal's fear is essentially manifesting itself because of what happened to his dad, and it's a lingering trauma, and that fear kind of cripples him from actually, fulfilling his potential and all that good stuff. It's fine story-wise. I thought it was a little bit ham-fisted. This is an hour and a half into this movie. There's only 30 minutes left. And of that 30 minutes,
Griffin,
it's about 25.
Griffin, you're right. It's the leader. Yes.
The leader. Okay, that's the name. Okay.
No, that's the Marvel version. Yes, that's what I was referring to was the Marvel version. Not
okay.
Yeah, because they made him look like the leader. Yeah. Anyway,
so Parallax.
What I don't get is the thing when Hector kills his father. Where it's still, I'm just like, I get the fact that you don't get along, but you murdered him. Was it the influence of Parallax that made you do that?
Yeah, that part is not explained because he doesn't like his father. He didn't show any murderous intent before that. He got Carol because he was in love with Carol since they were children, or he
and even
Carol.
The security guards. What did he do? No, he turned their tasers on them to incapacitate them. He didn't murder them.
Yeah, he didn't murder them, but the father he did. It's like
yeah. And he burned him alive too. That's a hell of a way to fucking go.
Yeah. So he touches the Green Lantern. Parallax kind of gets in tuned, and Earth, I'm gonna eat Earth, and that's enough for me.
Which also is the dumbest fucking thing because again, Abin Sur does an entire fucking sector, which is almost the entire galaxy. So couldn't Parallax go to anywhere else that didn't have a fucking Guardian and just eat the fucking planet and be like, well, I got all the power I needed. Go, rock and roll.
Not only that, the humans are considered weak and underdeveloped. So why would their souls and their fears empower Parallax to defeat Oa?
So Paul, for this, it'd be like in the warp version, be like, so you're going to consume an entire version, like entire world of the Tau, but the Tau have weak fucking souls. Why not consume an Elder Craft world instead? Because they have big, powerful souls. That's dumb. You dumb, Parallax. You dumb.
you dumb fucked up. Anyway, so Hal goes to Oa and is like, I'm not worthy, but I need the core to.
But he does have that that moment where the character decides, well, no, I need to stand up because it's Carol and
it's because
and
of Carol.
saying no, you have to because because I'm afraid. Like no, fighting even though you're afraid. There's a word for that. It's courage. We're like, no fucking shit. I have a thesaurus and also a dictionary. It's rock and roll.
Yes. but these are immortal beings that have been there for a millennia, so they really don't know that word called
countless
courage.
Times. So he goes there and he's like, well, you can't use fear because if you use fear, you succumb to it. Which he's right, because actually, it in the actual comic books, this is true. There is one of the part where another one of the Guardians does succumb to fear.
Okay.
So yeah, this is actually not too far off. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, like I said, there are moments that are directly from, and there are moments where it's probably just ham-fisted for the movie.
Yeah, but I love the fact that the end they're like, yeah, okay, well, good on you. Fuck off. That's kind of the entire bit of that entire scene was the Guardians and Sinestro be like, well, hope you have. Well, you're gonna die, but. Go on, champ.
Now, before we go into the first game, I want to get to this part. We'll get to the end of this at the end where he got Carol because he's jealous of Hal, and they have that whole back and forth of, okay, you've always been. I don't think he said you've always been jealous. He's like, okay, you think I'm this good because blah 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 blah, this ring and everything. Here. Take the ring and let her go, and I will give up my power. Sort of like, Jesus style, the Matrix style. It's like I'm gonna give the sacrifice in Constantine, where he just gives up the power.
No, it was supposed to be a trick all along.
You think so?
Yeah. Well, because he even says after, we're like, no, the thing is, I lied too. You have to be chosen.
Okay. So it wasn't a benevolent sacrifice. It was just a ruse.
It was a ruse. Yeah.
Okay.
which is in Hal Jordan's character. But the thing too is also if you look at the effects of what it could be if you didn't have a power ring for the Yellow Lanterns, would you be like, oh yeah, by the way, I become a crippled giant, basically elephant man? Yeah. I think I'm good. Good.
Kind of. You think it's because he can't contain the yellow power within a ring?
I think that's what it. I think that because there is no there's no actual conduit, so it's actually slowly consuming him.
That's a very smart way of thinking about it. I'm not sure they were going for that.
I know
thinking.
I know. I watched it twice and I'm like, well, I think that's the reason. I think
it was kind of a fluke. Anyway,
God damn it!
You give them more credit than they deserve, probably. Anyway, let's play our second game of the night. You know it, you love it. It is Screen Fighter.
Round 1, fight.
Screen Fighter is where we take two movies, pit them together, and see which one is the best one. If there's no discernible difference between the two, both of them are good or both of them are bad, we fall into our criteria, which is Saturday evening, Friday evening, out with the boys, out with the girls, out with their significant other. Two movies in a vacuum. Which one will we pop in? Fury or Police Academy? Vote in the chat. All my feelings. Choose the movie.
Far too easy.
I kind of know.
It sucks. Fury is a better movie. Fury is a fantastic movie, but you know what? I'm putting Police Academy on every goddamn time.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, it's easy. Police Academy for me. There's the show.
Yeah.
Vanishing Point. I'm not sure I've watched that.
It's really good. You've not. I'm sure you've seen it before.
I'm sure I've seen it, but for this moment in time, I will say I have not.
Okay.
Because it's not fair. Now it's an easy. Okay. Now it's an easy choice.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna start. I'm not a fan of zombie movies at all, but whatever Alvin and the Chipmunks was going for, I might as well just watch Dawn of the Dead.
Also, that's the one where you got to see the green zombies done by Tom Savini that he regretted, remember?
Yeah, I know. I remember. All right. Star Trek Generations, not the best Star Trek, or Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps, starring Janet Jackson. Campbell, I've watched this movie once. I gave it a shot.
I have not seen Star Trek Generations.
Really?
Nope. That's the Kirk and Picard one, right?
That's the Kirk and Picard one.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen
it. None of the above. I will not watch Generations again. It's not that bad. It's not a good Star Trek TNG.
Hey,
movie.
All I'm saying is, re-roll on Star Trek because
I can't. I'm going to watch Star Trek Generations. Doesn't matter. All right. A Time to Kill, Joel Schumacher, and Halloween 2, which I have watched.
Yes. Which I do believe you actually kind of enjoyed.
I said that it was better than the first. Not because of the reasons you think.
Which is so weird because Halloween 1 is just a solid fucking film.
Halloween 1 is a solid film, and it's it is better than Halloween 2.
Yes.
Halloween 2 is a much more of a
it's one of the classic, like it's a sequel slasher where you're like, I know who's gonna die.
Yeah. It's much more predictable. It's very much of we've left the 70s behind. It's time for the slasher 80s.
Time to Kill was almost in my McConaughey month. Almost. But there is absolutely no way I would pass. I would watch Halloween 2 any day of the week. Come on. Come on. That's way too easy.
Chat doesn't say anything, so it's down to me. I will relent. I'm saying that A Time to Kill is the way better movie.
Oh yeah, Halloween, it's a better movie, but also it's like I don't feel good.
Halloween, yeah, I know. Halloween 2's, it's a good horror popcorn movie, I would say. All right, so it is what it is. Beverly Hills Cop 2 or Event Horizon?
We're gonna fight now. We're gonna fight.
It's so weird. They're only 10 years apart, and it seems like decades apart.
It does.
Right? All right. Choose.
I know it's not true, but I think Event Horizon is technically a prequel 40K movie, and I fucking love that movie so much. We reviewed it. I told you how much I fucking love that movie. It has to be Event Horizon for me. Even though I think Beverly Hills Cop 2 is hilarious. I think it's one of Eddie Murphy's, if not his best.
I used to love Beverly Hills Cop 2 better than 1 because Beverly Hills Cop 2 is way more jokey than Beverly Hills Cop 1. So 2 is much more like it's Eddie Murphy really enjoying being.
It's more.
Yeah. Yeah, much more than the first one. The first one was almost legit buddy cop movie.
Yeah.
With a little bit of comedy. Beverly Hills Cop 2 is all comedy, no breaks. And also, Judd Reynolds was all jokes, no breaks.
Oh, yeah. There was all gas, no breaks on that. Yeah.
So it's really hard for me to choose Event Horizon with Larry Fishburne.
Hey, I'm fair. That's perfectly fine.
Audience vote. Beverly Hills Cop 2 wins.
And even Paul is the one who actually would have picked Event Horizon besides me. It's just like, no, I think we're going to go with that. All right.
Yeah. All right. Stranger Than Fiction or the Transformers movie, the animated movie, the first one.
That's the one. Oh, yeah. At the end where everyone got really, oh my God. Remember the backlash?
Yeah.
When Optimus Prime died. The actual toy company got hate mail from mothers saying like, my kid cried watching your movie.
Yeah. Why so serious? So which one?
This is gonna be a hot take, but I really love Stranger Than Fiction, and
my God, you're killing me!
I have a personal story about that. I will tell you backstage because it is not appropriate for the podcast. It includes some sexual stuff.
Damn!
Yeah, so Stranger Than Fiction is like, oh, I remember them. That was a good time.
Damn! All right, I fucking hate Will Ferrell with a passion, dude.
I know you do. Yeah.
So we're going streaking and watching Transformers.
Yes, and also yes, Paul.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the fact that they made fun of that in Boogie Nights. You got the touch. You got the power.
Okay. Last one: Moonraker or a very strange anime movie that,
which is so weird.
I don't know.
Because both of them look like the covers of fucking anime. That is fantastic with the katakana on there. That looks
yes. Well, sometimes we get a chance to.
It would actually it would be Perfect Blue, even though Moonraker is probably one of the funniest ones because that movie made no fucking sense. It's one of the 007 films I've seen like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, this is fucking stupid. This is so fucking dumb.
I don't want to say I hate Moonraker. I don't like Moonraker. It is way too out there for me. It's actually out there because it's in space.
How about this? Why don't we just do a reroll on this one?
No, because I'm going to pick Perfect Blue.
Well,
but
I would go with Perfect Blue as well.
Perfect Blue is a weird anime.
It's fucking great, though.
Okay. Last one. By the way, the people say Moonraker. What about Perfect Blue? Wasn't that nice? Was it the rape?
Pretty much.
Hey.
Perfect Blue reminds me of...
Let it go.
of irreversible in a way where you kind of go, once you see them both and take them in context, like, I can't unsee that. No.
All right, cool. The Bourne Supremacy or Sphere?
Now, the Bourne Supremacy is 2, correct?
Yes.
Sphere. I liked the original. The original Bourne Identity had a cool concept, fun, entertaining. After that's like, oh, it's paint by numbers.
I don't even care if it's 2, 3, the Jeremy Renner, or the comeback of Matt Damon. The first one was excellent. Sphere is a weird movie that people fucking hate. I love the concepts in it. Plus, isn't it weird that the start of Sphere kind of looks like the start of Event Horizon? Don't nobody ever think about that weird kind of globe thingy? Kind of looks like the warp drive in that ship.
And it's really weird too that the band Velvet Acid Christ used actual snippets from Sphere and Event Horizon in their album Fun with Knives on a song that it's like when you tie it together, like, oh wow, so this is what hell sounds like. Oh, I don't like this.
Not to mention the fact that the Sphere is a conduit to making people's brains go crazy, just like in Event Horizon. Oh, yes, it is Sphere for me. I like the concept of it, and I hate the fact that people shit on that fucking movie. I don't understand the hate.
Well, it's true. It wasn't a good movie.
It wasn't a great movie. I said I like the concepts of it. That ending, though, is stupid.
Oh, yeah.
It's time to leave. It's like, bye.
Well, there's also the ending of that. Oh, now I just fucking forgot about the name of the movie. Jodie Foster. Oh, fuck.
Not Contact.
Yeah, Contact. I hate the ending of Contact. That was dumb as shit. We talked about the ending of Contact. We were like, okay.
I know. Anyway.
Well, you're not ready yet. So what?
You're not ready yet.
Fuck? Yeah. So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna be basically just lambasted as I lost my fucking mind. And so when you want to invite us, the human beings, into your intergalactic fucking network or whatever, no one's gonna believe you again. And
can we fight the dirty cloud that is circling Culver City?
Yes. It just is like, wow, did God take a fart or what is this? Also, how he's a corrupted guardian because he infused himself with the concept of fear. But
yeah, even if you take it out of the comic book context and actually tell let's say it's an original story, okay? It kind of makes sense, but doesn't really tell you why he fell out of favor. I mean, he could have just corrupted the entire group and be done with it. But then again, no story.
Well, I think it would be like more interesting in like a grounding kind of way. Would be like if Parallax itself had a power to become one person and then control people around him in an area. So like think of, I know this is going to be a very, very odd sort of way to go about it, but think of kind of a mix between the Scarecrow's fear gas and also it wasn't the Village, it was The Happening.
Okay.
So like being able to control them with their fear, so that like every person who dies under the effect like makes him grow stronger in that way, because it does happen with Parallax too. Like the more people that he consumes makes him grow stronger. That would be more like a grounded, interesting kind of take. With him's like, I am just a giant nebulous cloud, and
he does have a form in the comic books, right?
Parallax?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Later though, and it's not this, and also this too, which like it's kind of an inventive ending to the fight, because the fight is it's whatever. But how it's a callback to his training, the bigger they are, but also like given the fact that he is basically a nebulous gas, he's not a gas giant, so he would have less mass than you.
Look.
And do the constructs that he creates have mass, so that Hal Jordan's creating more mass the more constructs he creates?
But Michael Clark Duncan said the bigger they are, the more mass they are,
the faster they burn.
The faster they burn. I don't know, dude. There are story moments that make no sense, but in the moment when you don't think about stuff and all that is in your head is gravity. Gravity is a bitch.
He bigger than little man. Bigger thing go into sun, go burn.
Okay. Cool.
Griffin, yes. And to be fair, sometimes I was afraid because I was afraid that wasn't a fart.
The thing about it is, and this is again comes to you can imagine anything you want. Why 2 airplanes? Why not like 2 giant dogs? Something.
So it ties into the concepts.
I know.
Yeah, but it also you have to remember Hal Jordan is kind of a retard. We're not going to go there though. I was going to say, why wouldn't you imagine, like, because given his concept of what he's seen before, because he had he had a starfighter in there, like, why couldn't he imagine the like a fucking Star Destroyer pulling him away, or the Millennium Falcon pulling him away? No.
You can't have the Millennium Falcon, and it's so weird because
the sake of argument. Yeah.
The problem is in Nice Guy, he has a full-on scene where he imagines things and it kind of comes to life because it's a video game, and because it's under Marvel and Disney, it has all the Marvel and Disney IPs that they bought.
It's a better version of the Green Lantern, really.
Essentially, yes.
It's actually a lot funnier too. It's actually go see Nice Guy. It's a lot of fun.
Nice Guy is not like a 10 movie. It's a solid 7 fun fucking Ryan Reynolds movie. It is. The issue is, like I said, at the very end, because Disney owns all these IPs, they can do a better Green Lantern than Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Damn. Anyway, so he wins. And the Corps kind of, accepts him back.
And also, too, could you imagine if the Ring chose a furry?
Oh, my God. Jesus Christ. Why bring down the show?
Would the suit be your persona?
Why bring down this show? Why?
Why? Because this movie's kind of dumb. So might as well bring up a dumb question.
Oh my God.
So we have the whole bit with the turning back and Sinestro actually giving kind of props like, you're brash and you're impulsive. Abensur's ring chose a valid successor to the ring. That's kind of cool. Nice touch. And then like all the lanterns with the light going off, and then and then we have the whole bit with Hal and Carol at the end, and he flies off, and the exposition dump at the very end. He's the brightest light, which is true, because eventually he does become the White Lantern, which we talked about a little bit backstage. And then we have the post-credit scene where Sinestro becomes
his evil persona. Now this kind of puts him in the shoes of, okay, this is the next villain, because he kind of succumbed to his own fears and it empowers him and blah, blah, blah. But then we know it doesn't go anywhere. So this entire scene is, you can skip.
Useless?
Essentially.
Yeah.
Even though the entire movie kind of supports this entire scene, because he kind of pushes them to make a ring to harness this power.
But the thing is too, is all of the different ones need different lanterns. So there is no yellow lantern that he has. And there's also no yellow power source. So it's also like the one power source that he did have was Parallax, and Parallax just got yeeted into the sun. So
yeah. Again, there's
Don't know where you're going, movie. You
there's a
lost
bit of
me.
a hole here, so we'll put that aside. With all that being said, the movie should get flack. Let's just be honest. It should get flack, but it's not that bad. Now, people say it's unwatchable. I'm not sure
I don't think that's true. I think it's, well, again, worst case scenario, even outside of the context of what we've had this month, it's like a 4. It's a movie you could still put on and just watch, and it's not that big of a deal. It's dull at times, yes. It does kind of plot in its paces, where superhero movies, even modern ones, really shouldn't, which I think the Superman new one did in a couple of scenes, but not so overtly, because that's, well, James Gunn's writing doesn't really allow for plotting in its paces.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I think that the pacing was an issue. The story was an issue, but it all comes from that, again, that push and pull between studio execs, director, actor, all that good stuff. That are, in some movies, it's just the studio and the director. Sometimes it's the actor and director that don't get along. It's whole rigmarole. The point is the fact that they didn't have a set script going into this movie, the fact that the studio wanted one thing, the director wanted another thing, and the studio literally undermined the fucking director in almost all, let's say, major points, including signing an actor that the director did not want to work with. Kind of put this movie on the back foot even before it began. Plus a $200 million budget in 2011, which is even higher than what the MCU was putting in their movies. And their movies were like, okay, we had Iron Man 2, Captain America, Thor. 4 movies, really successful.
Was that right before Captain America Winter Soldier? I think so. Was that 2012 or I think it was 2012.
Captain America Winter Soldier. No, Winter Soldier was 2014.
Okay.
So
that was then before Thor Dark World then.
Thor Dark World was 2013. So when was Thor? 2011? It
was 2010.
2011. Same year as this one. Same year as this one. So, and like I said,
but still, Marvel, if you look at the overall concepts though of those stories, like even Thor, they were really grounded.
Yeah, Thor was a really basic movie.
The original Thor was very, very, very grounded.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't particularly like the original. Like, I would put Thor 20, like the original Thor, on a 6.5, maybe. It's not my favorite.
It wasn't great. It's a good introduction. It's an introduction to the character, though, that you're going to eventually have to deal with, or that will be in a film that I want to see at some point in time. Because to be fair, also Thor is not a very interesting character. I'm sorry, he's very nice. He's not.
I don't know.
Outside of the God Butcher series, which they ruined in Thor: Love and Thunder, which we don't talk about.
But yeah, essentially, both these movies are pretty basic, but Green Lantern took a fucking beating, and Thor was really successful. A, because people kind of caught on to the whole MCU thing. A. B, Thor and Chris Hemsworth are very likable characters, regardless of how elaborate or not elaborate the story was. And like I said, his story was pretty basic and very easy to follow, and the story made sense. Where in this one is like, if you didn't know what was going on and then you were told, well, there's a lot of patchwork going into the script. You're like, it makes sense. This movie was not
It's
that
also
good.
with Thor, like, he is a god. No, he pissed off his dad. He lost his powers. He's on Earth. Now he has to prove the fact that he's worthy of his powers, always worthy of his powers, end of story. With this is like, oh yeah, there is an like almost universal level of cops around the entire universe, and you have to deal with that in less than 30 seconds. You're like, no.
Yeah, it's a lot to cram into a movie, and then you have a lot of scenes where they just don't do anything, and you have no exposition dumps, no reason for it. It doesn't set up anything. It doesn't pay off later. It's just there. Quintessential, that scene with Taika Waititi where it essentially Hal Jordan goes like this, and I forgot to load the mags, and puts it on the lantern, and then look, crazy, right? This is green. Like, are you serious?
Well, there was also the scene.
What's your power? Green.
When he was on OO, when they did they did the cheap thing that pissed me off. The first time and the second time I did it on the rewatch, when he jumped off the fucking bit, like, it's time to fly. Oh, I know that. And like, and then he flew. I'm like, oh, fuck you, movie.
I kind of want to say everybody falls the first time, but it's like, that would have been way too cheap.
It was
anyway,
that, yeah.
Anyway, all right, it's time for us to wrap up. We kind of to summarize the movie. It's not as egregious as any other movie from this month.
And also, it won't be as egregious as the one we have for next week, which will be...
Which will be, just to celebrate the new Fantastic Four, we're going back in time to a specific Fantastic Four. It is Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer. Yes, if you wanted yet another anamorphic cloud of a villain, we have got another one for you in the form of Galactus.
And we also have the
God.
Well, no, I think this is the worst comic book dance scene in a film ever. It has to be.
Maybe.
Has to be.
Anyway, we're going back in time.
Also, you have to wonder, Mr. Fantastic, what is your sex life, buddy?
Whoa, buddy. Whoa. Pop your brakes, kid. All right. Right. For next week, go watch, or rewatch Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer. And we'll meet back here and enjoy it. And remember, guys, hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things. And no good thing ever dies. We'll see you next week. You're still here? It's over.